Alright, quick update on Tron. So if we start off with the 4 hour, you can see unfortunately we never made it out of the handle of this cup and handle pattern. So unfortunately it does look like this has been invalidated. You know, technically you can draw it like this if you really want to, but I personally wouldn't like how far we've come down on the handle. I mean, we're pretty much down at these lows. So I would personally consider this invalidated, so we will be removing the price target. We never broke out the neckline, so it is what it is. We've got to look for the next move now. On the lower time frames like the 4 hourly, the 4 hourly EMAs are literally dropping like a rock right now. Because of how fast this is moving down, it looks like the short-term moving average could probably cross the long-term moving average potentially today, if not tomorrow. So if you don't know when the short-term moving average crosses below the long-term moving average down here, this will cause a bearish flip on the EMA ribbons. And you can normally see when we have these bearish 4 hourly flips, it is the nail in the coffin that signifies that, you know, we are about to enter a steep downtrend. That being said, coming over to the daily, we are seeing a macro market momentum shift. And bear in mind, these do not have to, you know, take place straight away. For example, the last momentum shift we had was on the 28th. We actually ensued with a rally before coming back down and back testing the lows. And here, you can see, you know, we had a rally and we actually, did we make new lows from that day? So, 31st, yeah, we did. We came back down and put in new lows. And this is what I want to talk about for this video. You can see we have a plethora of lows down here for Tron. We've got 1 low, 2 lows, 3 lows, 4 lows, 5, 6, and we could be coming down for 7. We've got these 2 trend lines right here that I've got in purple. Let me just mark these as green for support as we are bouncing on them. But nonetheless, every time we've bottomed for Tron, if we were super bullish before an impulse up, you know, sometimes we come down to this. Like you can see, we came down to the lower bound, we came up, and if I zoom right in, you can actually see we came back and back tested the upper trend line before we continued on this rally. Most of the time we come down to the lower trend line though, but so far, since these have been in place since the 24th of June, and let's see if they've I mean, you could even argue that this was the resistance line back here. I'm not going to go that far. I'm just going to keep it how it is right now. It doesn't matter anyway. But nonetheless, you know, it does look like we are heading down. The daily EMA ribbons have fired a flip. You know, these even had a fake out to the upside, and now they're moving to the downside. What happened the last time we had a daily EMA flip? Once again, nail in the coffin. It was the sign that we were about to start landsliding. So I don't think that we are going to have a big move to the downside. If we come over to the higher time frames and see what's going on with the squeeze bomb, we are once again, you know, having one of these big macro market momentum shifts, which does show that we are technically bullish, even if we do look a little bit shaky right now. You can also argue that Tron is playing out a W pattern right now. It looks a little bit ugly in the middle, and you know, it's a bit weird how we've done this. You know, you could potentially argue this could be a shorter W within a bigger W. If we zoom in, you can also see we have lower time frames, like zooming right in. You can also see we've got a head and shoulders pattern here, which also convincingly has, you know, the neckline right at this support that we've been talking about. So there's a lot of confluence when we come down to these trend lines. In my opinion, you know, like I said, higher time frames are calling for a bottom to be near. However, it does not need to, you know, call that a bottom's near and then we have to start reversing straight away. Normally, you know, the weekly, it does take a very, very long time before we have these shifts. However, on the daily, it looks like we're gearing for that shift already. I am of the opinion that Bitcoin is going to have a reversal in the next day or so. I do believe the bottom is very near for Bitcoin. That is just my opinion. If you want my full in-depth thoughts about what is going on with Bitcoin right now, I did just upload a Bitcoin video, so go check that out if you want. However, Tron is breaking down in the shorter time frames. We've got lower highs, and I mean, it looks like we're about to move down. In my opinion, I think your best case scenario would be us coming down to 5.8 cent and bouncing on this trend line. But historically speaking, if we're just taking, you know, the average, most of the time we come down to the bottom here. So you know, like I said, best case scenario, I do think we are unfortunately moving down another 7% or so. This would lead us down to 5.8. if we do have, you know, the big flush out incoming, then we could potentially see a 16% move to the downside to 5.2 cent for Tron before we do have a reversal. Once again, I mean, it is a little bit of a shame that we saw this cup and handle fake out. Nonetheless, we can keep this horizontal resistance in play because this will still be valid if we do have a move back to the upside sometime in the next couple of days or so. Keep your eyes on 7.174. That is going to be a hard region to get above, in my opinion, considering we have had 2, 3, 4 pretty wham tops on this one. I mean, I can draw this back to all the way back here. This has been a hard level to get over. Has it had confluence back here? I mean, you can even see, you could even argue that, you know, we had, you know, touch points on it over here. Once again, I'm not going to go that far back, but however, we have got this big drawn out resistance that we keep coming into. We keep on getting rejected and moving back to the downside, and every time we've come up to this and got a rejection, we've flipped bearish on the 4-hourly candles, on the 4-hourly EMAs rather, and we've soon ensued with a big move to the downside. We are still bullish on the 4-hourly EMAs, however, they are heavily converging on themselves right now, and like I said, in the next day or so, if we don't have a huge reversal, then, you know, we might be screwed. In the lower time frames like the 1 hourly, I don't want to focus too much on this, but we are finding resistance at these 1 hourly EMA ribbons at 6.3 cents. So, you know, once again, the trend is your friend until the end. Macro trend is bullish. So I mean, if you do plan on, obviously not financial advice, DCAing Tron, I don't necessarily think now is, you know, one of the worst times to buy. However, I would personally, I'm not looking to buy Tron, just to be completely transparent, but if I was, these trend lines down here would probably be my go-to region because, you know, like I said, while it might be okay to buy Tron if you're holding this for the longer term, I'm more of a shorter term trader. I do have an investment portfolio, but, you know, I do like to talk about my short term trades, and, you know, in the short term, I don't necessarily think it is the safest time to accumulate altcoins. If you're watching this video in like a day or so, and Bitcoin, you know, doesn't have a daily close below 39,000, that is a completely different story. And I went through that. I went through what to see if you are planning on accumulating altcoins at these ranges. In my Bitcoin video, I talked about how we've previously had these big wicks to the downside, and, you know, as long as we don't see the daily close below 39, then in my opinion we are good. I think Bitcoin is going to bottom somewhere very near here, so I personally wouldn't be banking on a move for Tron to come down. However, it is something to be aware of, that, you know, the daily EMA ribbons are unfortunately bearish, and normally when we do this, we do at least have a hefty move to the downside. So I could definitely expect that 5 cent could be in play in the next few days or so. I will give you an update. I am not trading altcoins right now. I am waiting for Bitcoin to make a solid decision on whether it wants to hold 39,000. Once again, if you want my full in-depth video on Bitcoin and how that's going to correlate to the altcoins, etc., go check out my Bitcoin video. I uploaded it probably just about an hour or two before this. This is all I've got for you today for Tron. Best of luck if you are trading it or if you are in it. Once again, none of this is financial advice. It is just my opinion on the market. And yeah, you've always got to do what's best for you. Cowboy out. Peace.